Hello students, hope you are fine. Today, let's analyze trade policy during planned period in India. Indian economic development, second chapter. In this topic, trade policy or foreign trade in India, let's analyze what was the nature of foreign trade after the independence. What was the pre-1991 trade policy of our country? Then composition of foreign trade in our country and criticism against the import substitution policy of the nation and all. First of all, what is meant by trade policy? What is the meaning of this term trade policy? Or what did it constitute, trade policy? Trade policy refers to a set of policy measures or a complete framework of laws and regulations and to control the trade pattern of the country domestically as well as internationally, prepared by the nation in effect to affect the export and imports of the country. So means trade policy refers to the complete framework of laws and regulations, including international agreements adopted by the nation to control the exports and imports of the country with other countries of the world. Clear? Means it consists of the rules and regulations to deal with the other countries of the world in terms of exports from our country as well as imports from other country. That is a trade policy. Basically, trade policy consists of 2-3 measures. First one, tariff policy. We will explain this concept. Second one, import and export quotas. Quotas on exports and imports. At the same time, subsidies on exports and imports. So basically there are 3 measures are there. First one, tariff. Second one, quota system. And third one, subsidies. Clear? This is the first part of the trade policy measures and all. Second one, let's analyze what was the nature of trade policy before 1991. That's we can call it as pre-1991 trade policy. Means from 1952 or 1947 to 1990 periods. As we know, during British period, British colonial administration exploited our country and our resources. And our country became only a mere exporter of raw materials for the industrial development of Britain and all. And we became the importer of food grade finished goods from Britain and other countries of the world. Mere exporter of raw material and importer of finished goods. And moreover, our country became the market for the British manufactured products. Understood? So considering the situation, when we got the independence in the year 1947, we framed a policy and we followed the policy till 7th 5-year plan in India. Understood? Means the policy we can call it as inward looking strategy. There are 2 terms are there, inward looking and outward looking. Inward looking we mean that we have to look towards the development of our nation, domestic part of our country. How can we increase the domestic economy, increase the capacity of domestic economy? Means, in other terms, we can say that it is the matter of import substitution. We are substituting the imported goods by our export commodities. Means we are promoting exports. We are reducing the quantities of imports. The same way, how much we reduce, that much we are promoting exports in our country. That is what we are saying it as the inward-looking policy, inward-looking strategy. In other terms, we can say, technically it is export substitution. This is a question also there in our textbook. We can see that question also. So means when we adopt the techniques of this policy, definitely that will increase the export of our country. That's a policy. How can we increase exports of the country? Means government has to give emphasis for the sectors wherever exports are possible in our country. So means we have to promote the domestic economy, domestic sector of the economy. Agriculture sector we have to promote. Any industry is there, that's good, that we have to promote. So how much the government can promote this sector, whether it is agricultural or industrial sector, that is the export promotion. At the same time, a solution for import substitution. So one thing is not possible. Both things should be conducted together. While we are reducing imports, we have to substitute that reduction in the quantity by substituting exports in the country. That was the first policy, inward-looking strategy. Second policy was that during second 5-year plan, means first 5-year plan was from 51 to 56, then 56 to 61, that period. Our government restricted the imports of food grains, imports of not only food grains, other commodities, machinery equipments, everything we restricted. Only those goods are essential for the country. The unessential, import of unessential goods were stopped by the government to protect the domestic industry. Clear? And moreover, as I told you in the beginning, in order to protect the domestic industries, basically we are using these three techniques. First one, tariffs. Second one, quotas. And third one, subsidies. So what is meant by tariff? Tariff is a tax on imported goods. So means when the government imposes tax on imported goods, that will increase the cost of that goods in the market. That will decrease the demand for the commodity in the market. How it happens? I'll explain with the help of an example. Suppose a product, an agricultural product, produced by domestic farmers of our country. So indigenous product unit, indigenous product of our country. It costs 45 rupees for 1 kg or 10 kg. 10 kg it costs 45 rupees. The same product is coming from other country in the form of imports to our nation. That costs only 40 rupees. Our product costs 45 rupees. That product is costs only 40 rupees. Definitely when the product is coming to the market, the habit of the consumer is to go behind foreign goods, and we are assuming that those goods may have high quality than our good. That's our concept. The reality may be opposite. Our product may be better and quality, but we are expecting that foreign goods are having more quality. They have good quality. So most of the farmers, instead of using our domestic product, they will go behind imported good. Why? That's a foreign good. Came from China or came from America or came from other countries, European countries of the world, expecting good quality there. They are chasing behind the product. During that time, the government can control the demand for this product. How? By imposing or adding tariff on that one. 5 rupees they have to increase as tariff. There are criteria are there behind the fixation. This I am saying an example for your understanding. So 5 rupee, if the government imposed a tax upon this imported goods on this product, its cost also will come 45 rupees. Price also will come 45 rupees in the Indian market. So then the price became equal. In the imported goods also 45, domestic goods also 45. That will protect the domestic industry in our country. Or little more we are keeping also, that will be an advantage for the domestic manufacturers in our country. Such a way, government protected our domestic industry as the part of inward looking strategy or import substitution policy. Clear? That is the tariff. Second thing, second device, second technique is that fixing quotas, quantitative restrictions on the commodities. What is meant by quantitative restrictions? How it can be used as a measure to control the imports? Yes, government can keep quantitative restriction. Yes, this year or this month, you can import this much quantity of the commodity to this country. More than that, no. Remaining you can import next spell. Such a way, government can regulate the free flow of imports from other countries of the world. We control, we use this device. That also a protection for the domestic industry in the country. And third thing is that provision of subsidies by the government towards the manufacturers. If the government is extending their hand towards the farmers by providing subsidies, that will be a support. Subsidies can be given in different forms. Not only, we discussed the matter in our previous class, not only in the price, they can give agricultural, in terms of agricultural products also, seeds, fertilizers, reduction in their loans, financial support, fixing minimum support price for the producers. All are the different ways of this one. The government can protect the producers in our country. So by doing all these measures, tariffs, quotas and provision of subsidies, government can protect domestic industries, indigenous industries of our country. These are the policy measures during the plan period in India, and we got the advantage. Because why do we think about this matter? It's because we can understand that our economy or our products or the developing countries of the world, they are not competent to compete with the developed countries and their products. So what we can do, we have to reduce the use of foreign goods. We have to control the imports of goods from foreign countries to our country. And when we analyze the contribution of this sector, trade sector and all, we can see that the contribution to GDP has increased. Contribution in the year 1950-51, it was 11.8. But in the year 1990 and 91, contribution to GDP increased into 24.6. From 11.8 became 24.6 in our country. Means that foreign trade was better. That sector contributed more towards the development of the country as well as for the welfare of the nation. How can we say that this is a positive thing? Yes, we can assess on the basis of the performance of public sector units and small scale units in India. This topic we discussed yesterday. So public sector units are considered to be a milestone for the development of our nation. And regarding industries, first Prime Minister of India, he said that industries are the temples of modern India. So means we have to protect the industries. Industries are the sources of development in our nation and earnings from foreign countries. Moreover, small scale industries also. Small scale industry can also provide employment opportunities. So it's considered to be the indicator of development. Public sector units are working and small scale industries are also there side by side. We can say that's an indicator of economic development of the nation. Means the government has to provide their support and they have to consider these industries in each and every plan. They have to keep something in their showcase. They have to showcase something for the development of these two sectors, public sector units and small scale industries in our country. But there are some problems also there relating to the licensing matters and all. Even if the license is not required, some industries, they are holding license in their hand and they are stopping other industries to come to the sector for the production. That may stop the starting of new firms in the economy also. And when we analyze this matter, we can see this license Raj has created issues in our economic development. Next topic is that composition of foreign trade in India. Composition, we mean the items of exports and imports. When we analyze the composition, the share of agricultural goods and allied things, their significance came down. But the share of industrial products, machineries and machine tools, its significance has increased in our country. And we were exporting goods from our country to other countries of the world, like our precious things, gems, jewelry items, ready-made garments, etc. Even if these compositions are there, our policy matters have been criticized by the economics in the country itself due to the change in the policy matters. Till 1990, we followed these policy matters and all. According to the policy makers, according to the government, due to all these policy measures, we were able to obtain self-sufficiency in food grains. Yes, that's a fact. Due to land reforms and all, we were able to abolish the intermediaries and we were able to clear the tenancy rights to an extent. 100% is not possible. To an extent, we were able to obtain this development. Zamindari system and all we abolished. Self-reliance we obtained in our developmental strategy with growth and equity. But those developments were not in a better way. That is, we are calling it as the criticisms of import substitution measures. What are the major criticisms? When we discuss about criticism, the first and foremost criticism against this import substitution measure is that it did not lead to growth of the country. Understood? Means there is no such growth. Even if we are saying percentage wise some changes in the GDP composition of and all, that is not a big change. In agriculture sector also, the contribution of agriculture sector has decreased during 1990s than 1950s. That's the first criticism. It's not a growth oriented policy. Even if the inward looking policy, we protected export of our country and we gave more emphasis, quota, tariff, everything was there, but that was not in a proper way. It did not bring any such kinds of growth in the country. That's the first criticism. Second thing is that all these measures were proved as waste. If those measures were good in case of the country, how did the agriculture sector contribution came down? How did the industrial sector importance came down? How did our country wants to find out to resort in new methods, new policy reforms? Why did? This question still remain there. That's why we can say it's proved as to be a waste measure. That's the second criticism against these policy measures. And third criticism, it's very important thing. Import substitution and export promotion. That was the policy framework. But that protection was nothing. The manufacturers of the commodity, when the foreign goods, it was stopped by the government, by tariff and quota system and all. They didn't do, means the domestic manufacturers, they didn't do anything to improve the quality of the commodity. Means the consumers were forced to use the less quality product because nothing is available other than this one. So they are forced to buy the product from the market. Government did not take any action against this matter to improve. Did not allow any firms to come to the production and all also. That means the poor quality of the commodity and the poor management system also we have to consider as to be a third criticism against this. Import substitution was a flop. And moreover, fourth criticism, we mentioned that development of a country, we can say in terms of the development of public sector units, means industries. How can we assure that these public sector units were performed their high voltage? They showed their maximum potential. Lack of accountability. There is no sincerity in the production. That was the system in case of public sector, most of the public sector units. That's why disinvestment happened in our country. Our policy makers were forced to rethink regarding the industrial sector. That is a fourth criticism among the criticisms of import substitution in our country. Public sector units were not promoted welfare in the country. That's only a unit contributed some product in the economy and provided employment for the people. A simple example. Modern bread, a good manufacturing unit established in the year 1965 in India. Headquarters in Haryana. And accepted this name Modern Bread in the year 1982. Around 13 cities they are having production units. Among the states of India, 13 cities they are manufacturing modern bread, cookies and other products of their own. In the year 2000 January, our government privatized this sector. And again that it's purchased by this company owned by Hindustan Liver Limited. Again Hindustan Liver Limited changed the ownership. Now the parent is Everstone Capital, a Singapore-based company. Means it shows if public sector units performed welfare in the country, how did this privatization happen in our country? First unit of this modern bread industries in the year 2000 January. But in our textbook it is mentioned 2000 January. It is textbook it is mentioned 2001. Anyway, privatization. So we can say clearly, this is only one example among the examples of public sector units, privatization, disinvestment, minority and strategic sales happen in our country. These are the major points coming under trade policy during planned period in India. Hope you enjoyed the class. And this is the last topic from chapter 2, Indian Economy 1950-1990. One simple request, those who did not watch my previous classes, keep watching my previous class.